Good morning. I'm Coach Trey. Today, I want to talk about carnivore. So, I started carnivore at the beginning of December, and it is January 7th, so a little over 5 weeks. I guess to start, we'll have to talk about what my diet was, because I really think that made it a lot easier for me to switch to a carnivore. And I think with less problems than some people have. So for like the last several months, I've been eating mostly just meat and fruit. With the exception of 1 to 2 meals per week, which would have vegetables in it. I started doing that because vegetables upset my stomach. It just made me really gassy in the bathroom. 2 to 4 times a day while eating a vegetable diet or vegetable included diet. It's just very uncomfortable, and it's been like that for years. Years and years ago when I was a vegan, like 7 years ago, or 7 years ago when I was a vegan, in the bathroom 4 to 6 times a day. And, that's not fun for anybody. But I ended up having to quit that because after about a year, I was extremely malnourished. I just couldn't, I started like passing out at work. So it didn't work out. Since then, I've been super picky about my food, you learn about all the weird chemicals and stuff in the food and the processed foods and stuff. So I was very much anti-processed food for a very long time. Not that I didn't eat any, occasionally you slip up and you eat, a whole package of cookies here and there, ice cream, pies. No, I'm not talking about the ones my dad makes. I'm talking about like store-bought pies. Like, that stuff's toxic. It's gotta be. But so throughout the years, but mostly, clean eating throughout the years. But for years it had been, really clean. Whole foods, vegetables, meat, fruit, and heavy fruit. I've been a really heavy fruit person for a long time. It replaced sweets for me. Forever. So like those bags of cuties, those little oranges. I eat like a bag of those a day. And a couple apples, a couple bananas. There's a lot of fruit. And I like fruit. Fruit doesn't upset my stomach the way vegetables do. So, which is what I'm getting to. So several months ago, it clicked. It's like every time, I was mostly eating meat and fruit. Whenever I would eat a meal with vegetables, I'd be gassy, bloated, and undoubtedly I'd have to go to the bathroom like 3 times that day. And just kept noticing that. So I started cutting out the fruit. Cutting out the vegetables. more and more and more. And that really helped that. And I was like, great, fantastic. Except I, was stuck at about 17, maybe 18 to 20% body fat. No matter how much I exercised, I couldn't get below that because I would binge eat fruit, So that's, I've struggled with binge eating fruit for a very long time. So, found it very, very difficult, because, and then even when I was, spent, 10 hours a week doing cardio, I would just eat that much more fruit. You run the tank empty, but you just eat more, you just eat more food. So that didn't really work the way I hoped it would when I was doing all that cardio. I do another set. Anyway, so a couple months ago, I was like, okay, I'm going to start focusing on trying to limit everything but meat. I wasn't being strict with it at all. Not a couple months ago. I was just like, okay, no more vegetable meals, not even once a week. And trying to eat less fruit and more meat. But it doesn't really work. Some people have a switch, carbs or no carbs. And as long as my carb switch is flipped, I'm just like, I just crave it. It's all I want. So, in work, I had to switch to just meat and quit eating the carbs altogether in order to stop. So, about 5 weeks ago, that's what I did. And immediately, I started losing fat, but not weight. I was, maintaining my muscle, started losing fat, and I was just eating so much food, so much meat, just ravenous. And I've been ravenous. For the whole first month, I was ravenous. I was so hungry. But, a lot of people, they have bathroom problems. We can talk about that in a minute. But the main thing that I experienced when I switched was just I couldn't stop eating. Just can never stop eating. And I was losing weight. I was eating way more than I normally would eat. But I was just losing weight. And, there's that feeling, that unsatisfied feeling, which, still deal with a little bit. It's one of those interesting things where I'm not, it's like carb craving that just doesn't get sated. So it's very, you're not hungry anymore, but you're like, it was missing something. And, that's just only recently become less and less and less. So yeah, bathroom problems. And for those of you who don't want to hear about bathroom problems, I'm going to take my hat off. And when I put it back on, you'll know I'm done talking about this. So, what happens with your poop on Carnivore? It's just that. It's interesting. the first, people say, oh, diarrhea for the first week or two. A lot of people. I didn't have that issue. And I think it was because for so long before I switched to full carnivore, I was eating mostly meat and fruit, but mostly meat. And so I didn't have that issue right to start with. Right, but I've been having that issue, and I'll explain. But so the first thing that happened, which kind of makes you panic, is going 3 days without going to the bathroom after averaging, for years I was averaging 3. Only for the last month before I went on carnivore, I was averaging 1. Before that, I was averaging 2, 3 times a day. I'd have to go to the bathroom, and this has been a problem. You have to, you go to the bathroom so much, you wipe so much, your butt's raw. No fun. I used to hate, my stomach, having to go all that much. It was just like torturing myself. Anyway. But then all of a sudden you don't have to go for 3 days at a time, which is slightly panic inducing. You're like, is this a problem? I feel fine. Is this a problem? It's not a problem. It's natural. And then when you go to the bathroom, it was like very, very like, it was like sludge, very much like not solid, not liquid, just like sludge, and very little. And so it's like, okay, not a problem when you only have to deal with it every 2 or 3 days. Fantastic. And and so, that went for a couple weeks. And then it started to normalize a bit, where it was no longer like sludge. It was just like normal little poops, And that's great. Every 2 or 3 days. Fantastic. So that's, I think, one of the best parts about it. It's just, not having to go to the bathroom that much. But the thing that happened, I was using a lot of spices to begin with, and I stopped. The thing that, I'll get to the spices in a minute. So I realized that anytime I got too much rendered fat at once, and then I would have to go have diarrhea, like an hour after I ate. It just cleaned me out, But then again, and then it wasn't like over and over again. It was just like, oh, then don't have to go to the bathroom for 2 or 3 days. So yeah, so that's what I've found. And then the other day, I made a roast for my family, and I put carrots and onions in the broth that I cooked the roast in, for my parents, and I just ate the meat. But having that juice on the meat sent me right to the bathroom. And then the next day I ate a little bit more, and it sent me right to the bathroom. So it's like anything, I think that, also, I had some vegetable oil, or some olive oil at one point a few weeks ago, and sent me right to the bathroom. So it's like anything besides meat, right to the bathroom. So that's, that's interesting. And it's fine, because that's, I don't plan on eating anything other than meat. But yeah, spices. All right, no more potty talk. All right. Spices. I've always been somebody who needed to put tons of seasoning on everything. Over season, I cook stuff for my family, and it was just like, oh, it's too spicy, too strong. And I'm like, I could barely taste it. After a couple weeks on the Carnivore, the spices started giving me heartburn. Like, oh, so less spices, and the food tasted better. Oh, then less spices, and the food tasted even better. And then just salt and butter, and it was like magic. Like I had never tasted meat so good. Then with just salt and butter, and salt and butter were never enough to do anything for me ever, like my whole life. So that has been an interesting shift. Salt and butter. Now I can't get enough of salt and butter, but like that's all I put on my meat now. And if I cook my meat with anything else, heartburn. So that's been an interesting adjustment. And yeah, so also, I've had good energy. I've been having like down spells of energy, though, for the first couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I was having like crashes. I would be fine, and then I'd be like, oh, I don't feel good. I think I just wasn't getting enough fat. Too much lean meat, not enough fat. I think I was just running out of energy. So, but I've noticed that the more fat I eat, not rendered fat, but like fatty fat, the better I feel. That it happens less, and then less and less it's been happening. So that's good. That's nice. And I like to run, and I've had zero problems running. I don't feel like crashing at all. The only thing that's stopping me from running is my injured foot. I feel like if my foot wasn't giving me a problem, I could just run for 3 hours, which is something I like to do and hope to be able to do soon. I'm hoping that with just a meat diet, that the healing, my tendonitis in my foot will heal up. One can hope, right? I'm hoping. It's been healing. It's way better now than when I started. Like yesterday I ran 6 miles, and today I can walk, which is like a miracle. I've been having crazy problems, especially the day after my runs. But today I got up and I was just fine. So I think it is healing. It is healing. So very stoked about that. Let's see what else. I think for now that's about everything for my first 5-week like update or download or whatever on the carnivore diet. And I'm going to continue this on. So I'll talk about it more and more. And please like and subscribe, follow along for updates, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks. Peace.